Live from the JSA Podcast Studio, presenting Data Movers, showcasing the leaders behind the headlines in the telecom and data center infrastructure industry.
Welcome, 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 guys. Hey, everyone. I am your host, Jamie Scotto Kataya, founder and CEO of JSA. And joining me on our podcast series, Data Movers, is my fellow co-host, Mr. Fabulous social media influencer extraordinaire, Evan Christel. Hey, Evan.
Hey everyone, and as you might be able to tell, I'm live here from opening day at Fenway. No, this isn't a sports talk show. It just happens we have an event here, so you have to make do with what you're given. So this is a fabulous real background, and I'm super excited to broadcast live from Fenway Park in Boston, James.
This is so cool. It's like we're Data Movers podcast and a little ESPN today. We're getting our sports fix in right as we broadcast live here. And so
yeah. So what are your favorite rites of spring? Do you have any particular spring activities besides baseball that you're looking forward to?
Does spring cleaning sound really, really cheesy? I'm like, I get to clean out my closet. No, ITW. Oh gosh, I sound like such a geek. I can't help it. I am a geek. But yeah, it's all those spring events kicking back up. It's the refresh, renew, fresh energy, getting outside, doing some more walks with the family, etc. All that is what I think of when I think of spring. How about you, Evan? Besides
baseball and apple pie and all that good stuff, but also more telecom. We need more telecom guests, and I think we have a good one today, if I recall correctly.
You know it. Talk about a great intro too. Hey guys, this is what we're here, right? With Data Movers, we want to talk to our data mover, and there's no finer guest today than our very own Mr. Brian Flynn, president of Xtel. Welcome, welcome, Brian.
Hello, Jamie. Hello, Evan. How you doing?
Oh, so great, so great. Happy spring.
Yeah, it's about 70 degrees outside. But I'm inside here doing this, which is great. So,
we're hearing from our live chat already. They're cheering for the sports. What is it? It's the Red Sox versus the Phillies?
It is the Pirates versus Red Sox, yes, in the bottom of the second inning. So the game just started. But let's talk about telecom games. Those are the games I really...
And you know it. And Brian is a wonderful long history in our telecom industry. You've been in telecom for over 20 years, my friend. You've seen the industry absolutely evolve. Tell us about how you got started in this industry and what are some of the biggest telecom breakthroughs that you've witnessed so far?
Sure. Yeah, my dad, actually, Don Flynn, he was co-founder of Xtel in 1994. At that point, I was still in college. In fact, I was a freshman in college. And then when I graduated, I was in finance for a couple of years. Kind of came to the realization that was not going to be the career for me, at least long term. Spoke to my dad a little bit. He's like, well, we have a sales position open if you're interested. Why don't you come over, see if you like it, and figure out what you want to do. And I did that. And that was 23 years ago. So I guess we figured it out.
That's a lot of customers over 23 years. How have their perspectives changed over the 23 years of dealing with those amazing customers you're working with?
The perspectives, well, I guess there's been a lot of, we used to have just telecommunications companies. You had MSPs, you had internet access, ISPs, internet service providers, and now we've had so much consolidation through the years that they really want, as the saying goes, one throat to choke, right? So they don't want to have 5 separate vendors. They want to have one vendor. So as a telecom company, we're seeing services blend with MSPs, with MSSPs, all under one service umbrella.
Yeah, and that actually leads to our big news, really, that you, of course, Xtel, a leader in cloud services. Most recently, your company announced expanding its managed cybersecurity solutions portfolio. Can you give us a little more insight on that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like I indicated, there has been so much consolidation that a few years ago, we sort of recognized that we needed to get involved in cybersecurity. That's what our customers were asking. They don't really care about the voice services if they're under attack, right? So we sort of split up into three main sections. That's training, testing, and detection and response. The training would just be cybersecurity awareness training. That's very important because the vast majority of attacks are still employee initiated, meaning that they open up the wrong email, they might be a malware attack, or they're just careless with their login credentials. So we train them on essentially how not to do them and how to avoid those threats. Then you have testing, which is like penetration testing, where we scan an entire network and we look for vulnerabilities through that network, and then we make the customer aware of those vulnerabilities, and we suggest ways of strengthening the network and eliminating all of those vulnerabilities and weaknesses. And then detection and response, we went directly to XDR. XDR is extended detection and response, and it's it's the end of the evolution with EDR and MDR. EDR, as you may know, is endpoint detection and response. It has some limitation. It was really only focused on one thing, usually a desktop computer, for instance. And then you have MDR, which is managed detection and response. That went a little bit further. You had other elements of the network that were being managed 24/7. But in today's market, organizations have disparate networks, they have disparate technologies. And that's really where XDR comes in, where we're able to analyze all those disparate data streams, consolidate everything, and just make it easier for organizations to oversee their entire cybersecurity infrastructure.
Yeah, I'm finding a lot of customers are looking for one neck to choke when it comes to cybersecurity, because they're really confused and there's so many threats and so much misinformation and also choices. So are you that one throat to choke when it comes to all cybersecurity for those customers?
Well, there's a lot of niche plays within cybersecurity, so I'm not going to say that we literally do everything, but I think those three main areas we have covered pretty well. I mean, again, it starts with training, right? The employee training and making sure that they understand the threats and how to avoid those threats is extremely important. And if you get that down, you avoid 80 to 90% of the stuff in the back end. But then you have testing. You really need to take a look at that network and make sure that it's sound. And then, of course, when things do happen, you need to have a sound detection and response system. So yeah, I think we do a pretty good job in covering the main points of cybersecurity.
Yeah, absolutely. The people, the testing, the training, the resolutions. I love it. And let's. I love when I also have such a thought leader in our hot seat. I like to pull out the crystal ball. Where do you see the industry in 5 years from now regarding next gen cyber and cloud solutions?
Right. Yeah, it's hard because it's evolving so quickly. But probably just more of everything. More attacks which are more advanced, more financial damage is created. I think you're going to see companies having to go through more rigorous qualifications in order to get business insurance, more rigorous qualifications as cybersecurity plans are concerned. I mean, right now, it's usually like 5 or 6 questions. Do you have this covered? And they can get their cyber insurance. I think that's going to become extremely a much bigger process in order to get that insurance. And then with AI, artificial intelligence, I mean, that's kind of a buzzword right now. Everyone's talking about it because of ChatGPT and ChatGPT-4. Everyone's very excited about it. I'm also excited about it. But you get AI in the wrong hands and the cyber criminal, it stands to reason probably use image, and I think we need to get prepared.
We're seeing a massive shortage of cybersecurity skill sets and personnel. I mean, that must be one major reason why clients seek your help, is that deep expertise in knowledge. Are you seeing that as well?
I didn't quite catch the question. Can you repeat that, please?
Now, we're seeing a massive shortage of cybersecurity expertise. I'm wondering if you're seeing that as well. And that's one of the many reasons your clients need your assistance, is just getting that skilled expertise and experience in house.
Yeah, massive shortage of cybersecurity expertise available. Yeah, it's true.
Right. So absolutely. So, so I didn't talk about, but SOC as a service, so Security Operations Center. In order to take the Security Operations Center is essentially a NOC, a Network Operations Center, but for cybersecurity. And it's very difficult to find talent in order to create your own SOC, and that's why SOC as a service has become so popular, because it's you're outsourcing that and allowing another company such as Xtel to oversee your security. It's difficult to get talent. It's difficult to maintain that talent, and most companies, that's outside their core competency. So it's difficult for them to reasonably continue maintaining and also feeding that talent stream within the company. So I agree.
Absolutely. And I want to make sure we get to all of your hot news as well. Xtel, you had several recent announcements, including the launch of your third geo-redundant data center in the New York metro market. So sorry, Boston, we're going to talk New York right now. But tell us more about how this addition expands your Xtel footprint of dedicated internet access, DIA, and DDoS attack mitigation options.
Yeah, so we have New York covered now. That complements, and that's 165 Halsey. That's 401 North Broad, and also in Philadelphia. And then we have a data center just outside in Plano, Texas, just outside of Dallas, and also one down in Baltimore. So actually, it's 4.
Oh, 4?
Look at that, we're growing. What that does, those additional points of presence, just allows us to get closer to those end customer points. When providing dedicated fiber internet access, you got to provide quality routes, and you have to have low latency. Low latency is a function of how far away you are from those customers. So we are, by being in Halsey, we've opened up the entire New York metro market, part of New York State and Connecticut. So that's very exciting. And then with DDoS mitigation, now that we're providing the dedicated internet access, we layer DDoS mitigation on top of that. And we do that proactively, meaning that if there's an attack going towards one of our customers' IP addresses, we mitigate and we filter out those affected packets before they even get to the end customer. So it's another value add that we'll be able to provide to a whole new set of customers in the New York metro area.
Do you think customers are looking for a one-stop shop when it comes to all of their IT, telecom, security needs? Is that sort of the trend you're seeing with your peers and yourself?
I think it is, Evan. That is absolutely the trend. I mean, they just want to have one person they can talk to who sort of controls all elements of their telecommunications and cybersecurity game plan. It gets difficult when you have multiple vendors because systems need to be engineered so that they work cohesively together. Sometimes that doesn't happen when you have more than one party involved, and then there's obviously the finger pointing game on whose fault it really is. So if you have one vendor, that sort of eliminates a lot of that variability.
I can't help but to think about this whole spring theme that we have going on, and growth being a big word that I associate with Xtel. We have growth in services, growth in POP locations, and also we haven't talked about Maryland-based CLEC Global Telecom, GTB, being a new acquisition for you guys. So let's get the inside info there. What can you tell us about this and what it means for Xtel?
Yeah, that was really exciting for us. That's our first acquisition. GTB has been around for about a quarter century, a CLEC in Maryland, like you indicated. Very similar to us, a lot of the same services, but a lot of different types of customers. So through that acquisition, we really gone deeply into healthcare and legal and a few other verticals as well. So we've inherited a lot of institutional knowledge in those verticals. So we're excited to be able to expand upon that and continue going after those verticals. And then, of course, a lot of engineering, customer support talent we've acquired. It's like we just talked about, it's hard to get talent these days. So we were fortunate to be able to retain almost all of the talent that from GTB, and we've integrated within Xtel. So,
Yeah,
so thus far, it's definitely been a win.
Healthcare is a big area near and dear to my heart. We have the upcoming healthcare IT show in. What's your thought about the healthcare industry and the transformation that's happening there?
Well, there's a lot going on, right? So you have the HIPAA requirements, which is always sort of the thing that people go back to, especially with cybersecurity. I think there's a lot of development with cybersecurity and make sure that the customers remain HIPAA compliant. And there's a lot of different factions within healthcare. You say healthcare, that means a lot of different things. You know, inpatient facilities. You have hospitals, obviously, and several other ones as well. So it's a big, large, encompassing vertical. It's a vertical which is recession-proof, which we always kind of like, right? But it definitely requires some type of institutional knowledge, just kind of understanding the lay of the land within that vertical in order to service it appropriately.
Nice. Yeah. All right, so now it's time for the rapid fire section of our deep dive here with Brian Flynn of Xtel, guys. So Brian, whatever first words pop into mind as we ask you some fun little like get to know you type of questions. So, all right, being based in the Philly market, which clearly we have some Philly fans on our chat, all excited about your guest starring here on Data Movers. But being based in the very active Philly market, we have to ask favorite cheesecake, of course. Oh, cheesesteak. Cheesesteak. Geno's or Pat's? Geno's or Pat's?
Cheesesteak. Yeah, you have to do the cheesesteak question if you're from Philly, right? So between those two, the answer is Pat's, although there are several better options out there.
Oh, like an inside secret place? Is that what you're about to share?
There's several of them that are, not as well known as Pat's and Geno's, but they're make a better sandwich.
Well, see, we're gonna have to get your endorsement and like frame it on their wall or something then, huh?
Summer's coming up. How about the Jersey Shore? I imagine that's one of your favorite destinations. Any favorite spots or restaurants on the shore?
Well, as far as towns are concerned, Brigantine. For years it was Avalon, but we bought a place in Brigantine a couple of years ago, my family and I. We just kind of fell in love with it. So definitely Brigantine, New Jersey.
Nice. I love that. And one word that people like to use to describe you.
Well, most of those words probably can't be used. That's in all likelihood. But I'll go with consistent.
I love it. I was going to say charming for sure.
And so, Brian, you're a tech guy. Are you iOS, Apple, or Android / anything else, Mac, Windows?
I'm
What's
Apple.
your tech stack? Apple all the way. All right.
Apple all the way. Yeah, it's just easier.
Yeah, I'm sending up my little heart right here because I can't get away from Apple. I love it too much. They're too innovative. Okay, so on your Apple iPhone, what app are you using the most?
Pretty boring. Just text message and Microsoft Outlook.
Yeah, totally. Well, there goes that consistent, right? Or consistent.
There you go. Consistent.
And you know what? With cybersecurity, that's what you want. You want consistency. So I love that.
There you go.
All right, guys. I thank you, Brian, for joining us today. It's been such an honor.
Well, thank you for having me. This has been great.
And thank you for putting up with my spotty broadband service. Maybe Xtel, do you have any relationships to the park here? We maybe up our game.
We might be able to do some LTE extension for you. We can certainly do some LTE 5G backup service. We can talk about that.
Yeah,
all right.
definitely.
I'll put the word in with the socks here. So great to see you, Brian. Thanks
I know, and it was so cool to have you logging in. Our Evan Kirstel, of course, the king of Boston, logging in from Fenway.
Goodness.
I mean, you can't get cooler than you, Brian, Evan. I'm so excited to have you.
Thank you for putting
real
up with my
action shots
scheduling
going
challenges.
on. I love it.
And maybe, I don't know, maybe we'll do more from location shooting. Maybe when you're at Cannes and Monte Carlo and Bach, all these fabulous events, you can be reporting from the field as well.
Absolutely. We'll absolutely do it. All right, guys. If you enjoyed today's Data Movers podcast, I hope you did. Be sure to check us out, jsa.net/podcast, for upcoming Data Movers episodes, released every other week on Wednesday. So go ahead and check that out. And of course, always follow us. Where are we at? We're on Twitter, of course, Mr. Evan Christel, Mr. King of Twitter, at Evan Christel. I'm Jay Scotto.
I tweet a lot about cloud communications, so join in the conversation and tag me and Jamie and the team. We're talking about the future of the industry.
Yeah, absolutely. And check out Xtel on Twitter, LinkedIn, of course, their website. And thank you guys for joining us today. As always, stay safe and happy networking.